Rolling. Greetings. Much love, Rastafari. This is an address primarily to Kaisa Inn and to Malawi, Mchinji, and to my family in Africa and here in Denmark as well. And this is a clarification of the agenda and the time frame for that agenda as to, okay, where's Jimmy now and what are Jimmy's plans and what's going to be happening between now and we should say all the way up to January. No, we're talking about until June 2025. Between now and June 2025. Okay? Cool. So I said already it's a clarification. And the clarification of the agenda, which is basically has two main headlines. One is the renovation of Kaisa Inn, 100% renovation of it, which is going to cost 3 million Danish kroners. And the other one is the establishment of the curriculi, the CCSR curriculi, which is the Comprehensive Corporate Social Responsibility curriculi at Kaisa Inn for the purpose of engaging and activating our people in the fight against poverty and the challenges of climate change, etc. Okay, so I won't go too deep into the curriculum yet. I'll get back into it a little later. Still with the time frame. Arriving in Malawi, that would be December 2024, with 24 volunteers from Denmark who shall stay with me until June. And in the last 2 weeks of May, okay, the last 2 weeks of May, we shall be 48 volunteers, because the next group will come and for 2 weeks we'll be conducting a one-on-one project handover, because continuity is very important when it comes to projects in Africa. What we've experienced while I was staying at Kaisa Inn was the lack of continuity and new people always beginning from scratch, where others had already made headway, and which was very frustrating to a lot of our locals, because they had to keep dealing with people who were still clueless as to what was going on over and over again, while the poverty just got worse. So we don't want to subject our Africans to that. We want to have a very clear continuity, and that's going to be one of the hallmarks of Anderson Volunteer Agency. Now, I've said a name there, Anderson Volunteer Agency. I'll explain to it later when we get to that point, but okay, sometimes I talk too much. Anyway, so like I said, the breakdown is such. So we're saying December until June. So we're in May now. So May until September, I'm in Denmark, networking, making videos like this, making sure that videos like this get through to my Danish network, to all the relevant partners in Denmark, colleagues, supporters, my business network, my social network, that they can see this is where Jimmy is at. It's important for them too, and then they know what the agenda is, and we're going to basically tighten the ship to make sure that we get the 3 million kroners that we're going to arrive with, and the 24 volunteers and the following 24 volunteers. So that is what the purpose of making a video like this is for, and to keep you guys heads up. This is how I work. I make sure that people know everything beforehand. Don't start any project before everybody has a heads up to know that this is what's happening, this is what we're going to be dealing with, and then in the meantime, people can come with their objections or suggestions. All of it is welcome. Okay, especially in the case of Kaisa Inn, where there's 4 of us, it is important that when we do projects, you actually come with a very open hand and very open heart, very clear, so that everybody is on board and everybody can say whether they're going to be on board, either as a prominent member or a supporting member, or to be objecting to it and saying, I can't do it because of this and do that, whatever. So we are working with a very democratic process, so we do expect that not everybody's going to agree, but we got to create the forum for disagreement, and that's what we're doing with a video like this. Okay, so anybody who has anything against it, they should do it, and they should have a valid, well, I don't know, just have a strong argument, because this project has a very strong underpinning. It'll be very, very difficult for anybody to object to it. But of course, we wish people luck if that's what they want to do. So May till September, we're looking. September, I'll be going to the USA to tour with my music. Yeah, to tour with my music. I've got a booking agency, and for a long time they've been wanting me to tour, so that's what I'm gonna do to make sure, because I got a couple of albums and a couple of projects, and just want to spend that time in America touring with that. And October, I should be back in London for a Greenstead's reunion. Mario Panagatakis, my classmate, is putting that together, so definitely I got to see Richard Bangura and everybody, and basically get in touch with the Greensteads, which means that the Greensteads is going to get this video too, and then they know what's up, and then we'll see what kind of competence we will unearth from connecting with Greenies, especially the ones in Kenya. I'm so looking forward to that, because the wildlife aspect of our projects when we come to Africa, which are under CCSR as well. Okay, so that will be London and Barcelona. Barcelona, as you know, Barcelona is important because it is the place where I first experienced what it was like for the African immigrants who come by water from across Africa, their life and how they survive. And my friend Dongo had a refuge for them. And we got several other people in our organization, Cool Mom Records, who are in Barcelona, but also from Barcelona we'll be in touch with those who are working in Gran Canaria and Tenerife, where we receive a lot of our African brothers. So I'm getting too deep into things. I'll get around to it later. That is under the $10 billion plan, basically. Okay, and then we're looking at November as Jamaica. November is actually Jamaica, Ethiopia, and South Africa. So that will be the finalization of the entire project and the presentation to the Rasta elders now, internationally. Jamaica, obviously, Ethiopia, obviously, for His Majesty and for prayers as well at the Ark of the Covenant, and South Africa because of the initiatives that we started with the Soup Kitchen in Neisner and other such things. So that is the time frame and the agenda. Here in Denmark, of course, now your questions are like, how are you going to get the 3 million? We're going to get it. Trust me, we have a strategy. And the strategy is the same one that we're going to establish with the curriculum at CAESA. Now I just say CAESA because we want to open up for whatever it is. If CAESA constitutes CAESA Creative Center, then I'd like to meet with the idea behind CAESA Creative Center, because I know that they match. One, it's impossible for it not to match. We as siblings come from the same experience, just from different perspectives. So there's absolutely no way that it won't match. The differences that we've had here, and this I'll make very clear to you, my siblings, and to the world, the thing that I have objected to so strongly is the process in which things have been done. Until this day, there are still many discrepancies. Despite of the information that was given and the documents that were sent to me, those are simply just confirmations of the process. There are many questions. We'll get around to it. But having said that, let's get to the progressive side of what this is all about, is that the foundation is strong enough and wide enough to accommodate whatever inroads Kimba and Lumoti might have made. And whatever project they had, I have nothing against the projects. I have everything against the process and the response to when I asked about the process, like, hey, what's going on? And then the response and the speed of the response, I was like, oh, no, it's out of order, especially after 7 years. So that's clarified. But now that I'm speaking about CCSR, CCSR is at the same time, it is a strategy, it is a tool, and it is a product. Okay, I'm gonna have to write this. And it is a product, strategy, and a tool which would extrapolate, elaborate, engage, and intensify the velocity of exchange within the quantity theory of money based on land value taxation. Okay, so the most important part of it is the intensification of the velocity of exchange based within the quantity theory of money based on the land value taxation. So this has some great historical underpinnings, fundamental historical underpinnings in several disciplines, but obviously we're talking about economics since we're fighting against poverty. So just to name a few other names that underpin CCSR and where we're getting our information from, and the main arguments, we have great names such as Professor Mason Gaffney of UCLA. Go check out his readings. You also have an organization in South Africa called the PLAS, People, Land and Agrarian Society, who I met several members of them while I was in South Africa, which is also a land value taxation organization. And of course, there is Joseph Stiglitz, winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. Jeffrey Sachs, who was written and is writing extensively, commenting extensively on Africa's development, economic development. And then the classic economists, not the neo-economists, but the older ones who are for land value taxation, which the newer ones obviously are not. We're talking about the ones that basically dominate the world right now. We're talking about the ones from before them, which would be David Ricardo, John Locke. John Locke kind of like is more coming in on the social contract area more than the economics, but it's based on that. John Locke did come to land value taxation as a conclusion, and Adam Smith, of course. And land value taxation, it locks into our traditional land tenure in Africa and across the world, really, even Denmark, and that is interesting because our mother was sat on the first land commission of Malawi under President Bakiri Muluzi, together with the notable Vera Chirwa and others. So that would be really fundamentally and philosophically, with that type of underpinning, continuing the legacy of the work and the effort of our parents. On the one hand, the Danish input, and on the other hand, the stable foundation of my mother's experience in the land of her birth, Malawi. So that's the update. The details of how we're going to do it is going to be presented in other videos. Please search them. Yeah, I think I'll do it like that because then we can go deep. Let me just end this one here and then let me get into the details of how we're going to raise the money and how you can get in touch with me now if you're interested in being part of it now. Okay? Blessed love.